It's election day 2024 and people are rushing to the polls to vote for their favorite candidates. But hold the mustard, where did all this election stuff come from anyways? And how have elections within the Christian Church and the Christian worldview affected the democratic process? Let's get into that and other questions in a quick and messy history of democracy and the Christian Church. Democracy is the process by which decisions are made by collectives of people through polling. The core differentiator between democracy and other forms of government is that members of the political system share power in some way. And this concept actually goes back pretty far. Democracy as such can be traced back all the way to Athens, Greece. And it's pretty easy to attach Athens to democracy, and you wouldn't be wrong here. But primitive forms of democracy can be found in the Near East and India before that. And not every city-state was a democracy in Greece. Pretty much just Athens for a short time. But democracy as we know it today required something that was not as prevalent as it is nowadays, when democracy was hopping around in the BC era of Athens. But to understand this, we need to explore democracy and the Christian Church and the Christian worldview. While the Bible does not prescribe democracy as the form of government that should be used as a political system, we nevertheless see forms of it in the Christian Church and throughout our history. And, as we will see later, democracy built around the Christian worldview is the strongest form of democracy, at least in my opinion. So, take that for what it's worth, all right? Take it for what from the beginning, we Christians have used democratic principles in our decision-making process. For instance, when the apostles replaced Judas with Messiah, they cast lots. Christians have no issue with this approach to decision-making because of our belief in the sovereignty of God. For instance, we read in Proverbs 16:33, "The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord." I mean, the apostles were well aware of that. So they knew that that decision was going to be from the Lord because it says it right. And shortly after this, we see offices such as bishop and other offices filled with elections within the Christian Church. Though into the Middle Ages, democratic practices became much less common. When we move into the pre- and post-Reformation era, we see democratic practices grow. And you should practice your democratic freedoms right now by casting a vote for this video by hitting the like button. Then continue your freedom by subscribing for more content like this. The Enlightenment and the Reformation both had a huge impact on the development of democracy, both in and outside the church. Reformation theology emphasized aspects of the Bible that made all men equal and encouraged churches to be governed by the members due to our general dislike of papalism. But the real contribution to democracy as we know it today comes from the Christian worldview. You see, the Christian worldview has at its core two key principles. All things are in God's hands, and all humans are created in God's image. In Galatians, we can see the equality of all humans being put on display by Paul when he wrote, "There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is no male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." Wait a second, that sounds a little familiar. But this worldview element was not common back in Paul's day. Seeing all people as equal on an ontological basis was not the thinking of the day. We take this for granted today, but without the Christian worldview, we would not enjoy this truth. The Christian worldview has influenced modern democracy in a number of other ways as well, including the modern concept of the rule of law. This is the idea that no one is above the law, and it is a fundamentally Christian notion. Though we can find forms of the rule of law outside of the Christian worldview, the concept finds its strongest expression when it operates within a Christian context. So 3 cheers for being created in the image of God. Until next time, Soli Deo Gloria.